olden days, and I remember some of these, you had networking events.
Right.
And you would go to them and you would eavesdrop and try to find a conversation that you could tolerate being in or contribute to.
Right.
And you'd stand by those people. That is exactly what's happening on social media. You need to say interesting things, but it can't be a one-way conversation.
Hi, I'm Josh Owen. As the owner of a video marketing company in New Orleans, I've been on the quest to learn everything I can about marketing. Everyone has a different style, different strategy, and a different experience. Is there a wrong way to do it? A right way to do it? Let's find out together as we make marketing make sense. Welcome everybody to Make Marketing Make Sense. I'm here with Elisa, and she runs Cool Murphy. She's team leader. I guess how would you say it?
I am team leader and realtor of Team Cool Murphy.
Awesome. Love that.
Yes.
And well, thank you for joining us. And today, in specific, we're here to talk about building an authentic brand, which I know you're, a great expert on. You've had a lot of, experience with. But, just to talk about it in general, like, tell me how you've been building your brand with Cool Murphy. How have you been building this kind of like storytelling approach for, what you do?
There you go. Well, you took my answer. We're building the brand through stories.
Oh, hot dang. All right, we got
That'll work. But I think at our core, when we're building our brand, we are always going back to thinking about what makes us special. What do our clients value about what we do? What do we have in common with our clients? And where is that happy little Venn diagram overlap? That's where the secret sauce is. Who do we love working with? What do we love doing for them? And what do they love about us?
Yeah. And like in particular, I'm assuming too, this is really heavily involved in the digital space, like through social media and things like that as well. And like, how do you operate, in that space, like with your social media?
So last year alone, more than 50% of our business, so more than six figures, not in revenue, but in salary, came from strangers on Instagram alone.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
More on Facebook. And so that is a crucial tool when it comes to telling stories.
Right.
We also use a lot of original content. So my background coming from content marketing and writing and visual storytelling, our website is a workhorse.
Yeah.
And it was
awesome.
designed to do that deliberately. And we're working on using all these pathways into our content to really build a really sophisticated lead magnet and funnel so that we never have to subscribe to anybody else's lead sources. We don't right now. We don't pay anything for leads.
Wow, that's awesome. Like, and I guess like how has there been like a big success story with this? Like, have you seen like a particular post that you posted where you saw like huge returns from just, posting on Instagram?
I think the lesson in those posts is it will often surprise you. It will often surprise you. If you spend so much time thinking like, what's the silver bullet, you'll never make it. But if you come from a place of wanting to be helpful, provide a service, be valuable to what your ideal clientele want and are looking for, then all of your creative will be well informed. And what hits will likely surprise you.
Yeah.
But pay attention to what does, learn from it, and double down on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because like, what did you learn about like from your experiences with doing it just with your real estate brand compared to the other people that are out there? Like, what did you learn like was really like important through building your authentic self?
Something that will surprise most people is that I never post on any of our media sold, closed, for sale.
That's true. That's
almost
crazy.
Every real estate
They always
feed
do
you're
that.
ever going to see, it's a house was sold, or they're bragging about their accomplishments. They're saying closed $3 million this month. But what does that mean to you, who's a non-realtor? Does that mean that they're doing well? Does it mean that they're busy, too busy? Like it doesn't help you connect.
Exactly.
So instead, everything on our feed, and I coach the team through their own feeds as well. I want them all to be independent individuals with their own identities out there. That's what makes this work, is going to be educational or entertaining content. Entertaining could be a walk through an exclusive place. It could be something funny, like a spoof. It could be anything in between. And educational could be anything from this is what you need to be thinking about right now in this marketplace, which I tend to do on a weekly basis, through to here's a client success story that you can learn from. So instead of ever seeing sold on my feed, you'll see the people who bought or sold, and you'll read their story.
Yeah, that's super awesome. It's almost like because one thing we always suggest is all about collaborating and building collaboration on social media, because that's what social media is about, is building community and collaborating. To your experience, like what have you noticed about like, building authenticity through collaboration?
Authenticity through collaboration. I don't know if I am going to use the word collaboration so much as communication and engagement, which might be what you're trying to convey. In the olden days, and I remember some of these, you had networking events.
Right.
And you would go to them and you would eavesdrop and try to find a conversation that you could tolerate being in or contribute to.
Right.
And you'd stand by those people. That is exactly what's happening on social media. You're walking into a space, you're looking for people that are talking about interesting things that matter to you, and you're saddling up to them. You're following them. So when you're looking to build that, you need to say interesting things, but it can't be a one-way conversation. So as much as the feeds are pretty and convey information, I'm in my DMs, I'm reaching out to people, I'm tagging people, I'm supporting their content. I'm pretending in many ways like we're in a real world networking situation.
That's a good way to look at it. And I think a lot of people get trapped like thinking, oh, well, this is just a thing I got to just get out there and look away. It's like, don't look anymore, And I think that's really awesome. I think, but also I think that, that's awesome for you, not for them, but, but I think, one of the struggles I think a lot of people have is doing it for themselves, and is to feel like that way. Like, how do you, especially because you coach your team, so you're already giving a lot of advice. Like, what kind of advice do you offer to people that do struggle with that?
We've moved so far away from in-person interpersonal communication as a society. We date by swiping right. I met my husband on Tinder, like no judgment. But it's the difference of doing that versus approaching someone at a bar or wherever and saying, hi, I'm so-and-so. And the people who get over themselves and do that, even at the risk of embarrassment, like embarrassment isn't deadly.
Yeah.
Do it. People are so worried about putting themselves out there and what the world will think of it. And I get it. There's a lot of mean people out there. I have my own trolls. And the more that I get, the further I know I've gone. And it happens. But you also attract good things with that. So I coach my team. I'm like, get out there, repel as many people who don't like you as possible, because you'll attract twice as many. And that's what matters. That's the getting over it. But it's really difficult to believe until you witness it.
Yeah.
So it's a leap of faith.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. I mean, you talk about, I think you're right. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, embarrassment, don't get me started on the Asian shame here. Because we take everything like, there's a grain of salt, and then we take it and we dump a big bag of salt on our heads, There
you go. I got Catholic guilt.
Yeah. So everybody's got something, But I think to your point, like, I think that's really great that you're saying, like, hey, at the end of the day, you have to take that leap of faith. And that's just like, you'll see the results after you take that leap of faith once you kind of just do it.
You will. Also, we are taught, especially if you don't come from the dominant culture. So you mentioned you being Asian or me being female, to be smaller, to fit in, to blend.
Yeah.
And so it can be really difficult to overcome those kind of teachings that make us feel safe. But the only way to be authentic is to be vulnerable.
Right. And I think, that's such a great, point of view too, is, because we had somebody else, and a lot of people talk about this, is you really need to just be open about who you are, and accepting that and building on that. And so, for a lot of people, they're like, oh, yeah, they're going to hear that. They're going to say, yeah, that sounds great. But like, where do I start? Like, where would you suggest for someone to start if they wanted to like start building their authentic brand? Start
with a getting to know me post. Just say, this is what matters to me. This is what I enjoy. These are my values.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing we would do with a Fortune 500 brand. Who you are and what you stand for matters more than you know.
Right.
And as an individual, Coca-Cola's having like 5,000 hours worth of meetings deciding what their value proposition is.
Right.
What yours is what you value.
Yeah.
I put out a post recently. I've been going back to church. I'm in a gospel choir in Tremay. It's really fun.
Okay.
And I was feeling
Yeah.
the spirit that
Yeah.
day, and it
Yeah.
was rocking out, and the house was coming
Wow.
down. And I posted about that. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh my gosh,
Uh.
even me several years ago in New York would have read that and thought I was a crazy person. Why is she talking about God
Yeah.
on a real estate feed?
Yeah.
That post did so well. And
Really?
it did really well
Wow.
on LinkedIn too.
Wow.
And it's
Okay.
because people are like, all right, I feel like I know more about her. And
Yeah.
someone is saying something that I identify
Yeah.
with. So that vulnerability pays off, and it shows people who you are.
Yeah.
What you stand for
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. That's such a great, I mean, like, because I think, I hear that, and I'm like, oh man, I'd be nervous to post something about that. But you're right, like, but then you do, and you see the results right there. It's just right in your face, like, it, and it's, you can't, take that away. And like you're saying with real estate, I think that's such a powerful tool because, buying a house is such an innocuous thing. It's kind of like, I'm going to buy a house. Like, I don't know, it's like, I don't have like real estate agents in my back pocket until I need one. And then I'm like, well, who have I been just enjoying that it also happens to be a real estate agent? That's you. And you bond over that shared post.
The best outcomes in real estate from a buying or selling perspective for the client come when they are able to be vulnerable and share with you what they're anxious about, what they actually value, not just like a list of needs and wants and how many bedrooms or a price point, but I'm selling this home because I want this next, or I'm selling this home because I need money for X. I'm freaking out about this moment. And those are the things that work. But to ask someone else to open up like that, you have to be willing to be open.
Yeah.
And they're going to find you because you're open. Now, I'm sure I alienate and annoy a whole bunch of people out there, but they don't have to follow me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great, because I remember we talked about this before, but like, are you at all worried about alienating people on social media?
I used to be. I used to be. And the more that I focus on the strategy we just discussed, authentic, being myself, because it's so much easier to be you than it is to be anybody else.
Yeah.
The fewer high maintenance, crabby clients that don't click with me I have, but the more clients that I genuinely want to keep in my life afterwards do.
Yeah.
And the experiences go smoother.
Yeah.
So it's better for everyone. So I have a lot less stress in my life by, in some ways, intentionally repelling people.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I think we're all afraid, like, oh, well, I need everybody to like me, but at the end of the day, not everyone's gonna like you, and it's better to be around the people that you're gonna like.
You have to be pretty boring for everyone to just accept your presence in any given room, but also, real estate's based on trust, and it's not a profession that encourages trust.
Right.
People aren't like, oh, top people I trust, real estate agents.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a little bit above used car salesmen. No offense, my husband's father ran dealerships, but not much above that.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got to really be able to go out there and talk about who you are.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate in real estate because we do have boundaries and legal things that we need to be aware of when we're sharing information with people.
Right.
And we have a responsibility to cite and share accurate information, which comes from my background at the Wall Street Journal. It was ingrained into me.
Yeah.
But we're not finance people.
Right.
We're not lawyers. There aren't as many constraints on us.
Yeah.
And real estate probably has many more than selling something else does.
Well, you don't have a code of ethics that you're forced by law to follow or whatever.
We do have a code of ethics.
Oh, well, all right.
We
Well,
do
I
have a
guess
code
I
of
don't know
ethics.
anything about real estate.
No, we do. To keep our realtor
Right,
status,
gotcha,
you could be a licensed real estate agent, but not a
Gotcha,
realtor.
okay.
But there is a code of ethics.
Well,
It is
I learned
important.
today.
I'm not saying everybody follows it, but
Wow. Yeah.
it's important.
Okay.
I'm big on it, but
Gotcha.
also then your content needs to follow it. So I think one of the things that happens too that holds people back is they think, I need to put out something that looks really pretty, that's really smart, and I'm afraid I might be wrong in what I put out there. So they start to get into Canva. I love Canva, by the way. And they start to do these hyper-designed things. Not only is that not going to perform well on the algorithm, it isn't sharing the information that we just discussed that people care about and gravitate to most.
No, that makes sense.
When I meet with clients, they rarely flat out say, I wanted to see if you were the same in person as you are on Instagram. They'll say something like, wow, your energy is the same.
Yeah.
Like it's the same person. Like, I'm a real girl. but they've already decided to work
Right.
with me. It's
Right.
just the check to see,
Right.
is she for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that makes sense, you know, and I think that's great that you're able to like convey that so perfectly. Like, it's just a testament
Yeah.
to like, hey, this works. And,
It does.
And it's time to build your authentic self. So
It's time to build your
everybody,
authentic self.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
and some of the most followed accounts do. When you look at Cardi B, I love her. I love her piece. She is a genius. She is so
Yeah.
good with
Oh, yeah.
business and with writing and creative and unapologetically, authentically
Yeah.
herself.
100%.
And there's videos of her like standing on her pool, what do you call it, patio, like throwing a jackfruit at the ground, like trying to get it to open because she couldn't figure out a thing. That doesn't
Yeah.
compromise her in my eyes
Yeah.
as being an intelligent, go for it,
Yeah.
like amazing entrepreneur. I'm on there after a walk with my dogs, no makeup, hair's frizzy, saying
Yeah.
like, this is something I just saw in headlines you need to be on.
Yeah.
And things like that, and her give me more permission to do that.
Yeah.
So if you're falling into the pit of comparative thinking and you're only looking at your peers, you're limiting yourself, period.
Definitely.
You need to be looking at what people are doing in outstanding ways in other industries,
Yeah.
and keep the people in your account and follow the people in your account that inspire you.
Yeah. 100%.
Mute everybody else. Mute them, or
Yeah.
don't follow them to begin with.
Well, cool. Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
Thank
Elisa,
you.
for being on our show with us. I think we learned a ton. But before we do that, I need to also ask you
Yes.
where we can find you on social media and all your brands. So if you don't mind telling our
Not a
lovely
problem.
audience where to get.
So you can find me on Instagram at Cool Murphy Nola, CoolMurphyNola, and our website is coolmurphy.com, and you're going to find our YouTube link, Facebook link, Linktree link, all of it right there. Really easy to follow us on whatever your
Boom.
preferred platform is.
Nailed it. Awesome. Well, it's been
Thank you.
lovely having you. Thank you
Likewise.
for joining us. That's been our show. Thank you all. We'll see you on the next one. Woo! This has been Make Marketing Make Sense, brought to you by Comfystone. If you need video content for social media, your website, or email marketing, hit up Comfystone at comfystone.com and follow Comfystone on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.